Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and welcome to Dregs Reed, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, Memorial Airport. Today we're going to be flying into Yellowstone National Park, or we're flying the old faithful geyser a couple of times in the process, and then landing at Yellowstone's airport. Taking the Kodiak 100 up there, I couldn't think of a more fitting aircraft. We've got the big bush tires and the cargo pod underneath. So without further ado, let's get loaded up, boarded up, and underway. Alright, back in the saddle of the Kodiak. It's been a little while, but good to have it back on board. Got some eager passengers and cargo heading up to Yellowstone for an extended weekend. So we'll be sure to get them there safely. Let's go and get the master power on. We'll go nav and beacon to the overhead panel. We'll turn on our 2 fuel packs. Turn the master fuel on. Set the prop to max. And we'll go to the aux fuel pump on, ignition on. We should be good. 2 generator and alternator in a second. Starter to high. A clear prop. Alright, there's 60%. Starter can come off. Alternator and generator on. Pump to standby. Avionics and auxiliary bus on. Set the inertial separator to bypass, and let's get some air conditioning going on here. We'll read out of the cabin bug with the Kodiak. Alright, quick altimeter set. Assuming that engine inlet's still moving to bypass. Actually shouldn't need any backlighting or anything here. Turn on the transponder. And we should be good beyond that. We'll throw on the flight director. We're going to do a nav hold under the GPS, and we're going to do an altitude of 8,000. Which direction are we going? Northeast, kind of. So we'll do 9,500. And we'll do a speed of... Oh, okay. Well, I guess we have to enable that later. We'll start with a vertical speed of 1,200. Should be a good climb rate for this aircraft. Starting out, getting some air conditioning in, so we'll shut that window there. And we'll get our latches set for both myself and my first officer. That air vent pointed nicely where I want it. Put in a notch of flaps, taxi lights on, park brake off. We'll leave the yoke off for now. Do a hard right-hand turnout to not kill this lady. Wind's looking pretty light today. Maybe a slight favor out of the west. Boy, that's going to be a long taxi, though. No wind data on the ground. I mean, it's a real slight. But maybe we do just opt to take off slightly against the wind here. We'll make that choice in a bit. Alright, I made the executive decision we are going to take off with that slight tailwind. I don't think it's anything the Kodiak can't handle. It's handled way worse conditions, so... should be all configured for the takeoff here. We'll leave that engine inlet in bypass for now. Take the motor up to flight condition. Taxi out. Yeah, and it would even be a slight crosswind no matter what, so. It's no delay depart, plenty of runway to eat up here, so we're not going to stand on the brakes or anything like that. We'll just go straight into adding power. Watch those engine parameters as we come up. Nice smooth application of power. Pretty hot day out today. There's our rotation speed. Let's go ahead and pull back on the yoke.
Stall.
Big heavy airplane today.
Stall.
Okay, so we'll float for a little bit. Higher density altitude combined with higher temperatures means we're not going to be able to push this Kodiak as hard as we normally would.
Stall.
Let's get some more air in the engine. Keep those temps down. We are actually, I think, slightly over our max takeoff weight right now on the Kodiak, which is why we're just barely skimming the ground here. Yeah, we're like 100 pounds over. Bring that notch of flaps in.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
And we'll keep chasing that magenta line on the flight director. I'm going to lower our vertical speed climb out to 500 feet per minute, just so it's a little more manageable for the Kodiak as we depart. Whoa. Good winds aloft there. Really having to put in some right rudder to maintain coordination. Get back on the magenta line here. Add some more right rudder back in. Try and stay nice and coordinated. And that's pretty settled out, so let's go autopilot on. We'll stay on the rudder. Well, not too eventful. Well, I should take that back. It was a rather eventful takeoff, I'll be honest. Temps looking good. NG's at 101%, which is fine. We'll probably want to reduce that later. Torque's more than good. Let's take a quick look outside. A lot of cargo in the back. Tried to offset some of that cargo in the rear with a lot of cargo in the front cargo pod. Just because you don't want a tail heavy situation in any aircraft. That's how you end up in a graveyard stall like that 747 off of that dash cam footage from a few years ago. I think what happened with that is the tie downs were not properly tied down, and the cargo all slid to the back once the aircraft rotated for takeoff, and it stayed there until the aircraft hit the ground, unfortunately. So, 2,000 to go. I think we might up our altitude to 11.5 just to give us a little bit of a cushion here. But we'll keep cruising, we'll keep climbing on the way to Yellowstone. It's about a 45-minute flight We are going to overfly Old Faithful, like I said a couple of times, and then we'll final transition into Yellowstone. So, catch up with you guys once we're a little bit closer to the geyser. Right, and one very, very bumpy flight later, we're approaching Old Faithful, the Yellowstone National Park. I've never actually been to... okay, I take that back. I've skirted the northern side of Yellowstone, but never really got in to see any of the really cool stuff. But I don't think Flight Sim really does it justice. It is nice and rolly hills and that sort of thing, but I don't know. It is a simulator after all. Anyway, nonetheless, there is the Old Faithful Inn just below us in the Old Faithful Geyser. Just beyond, let's go ahead and turn on the landing lights, set them to pulse, and we'll turn on the taxi lights as well. And we'll get set up here to do a couple of passes. First pass will be for the left-hand side passengers. As well as us. Keep maintaining our trim as well, because we're not solely here to sightsee. We are operating pilot in command. Round out at about 8,500 feet. There she blows. Passengers get a good view of that down there. We'll come back right and let the right-hand side passengers get a view as well. I believe, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe Old Faithful got its name because of the frequency in which it would erupt. Hence the name Old Faithful. It's faithful in the time that it goes off at. Forgot the exact timing. I think it's like every 30 something or 40 something. I don't remember. There's another hot water geyser, I believe somewhere in Europe. It's no longer active because of other drilling that happened, drained it out, but it used to go off almost perfectly every hour on the hour. Really fighting some winds here. Really fighting some winds, assuming coming off of this hillside here. Understood, understood. There you go, right-hand side passengers. Old Faithful blowing away for you. Down below. Hard to maintain a good turn rate that allows passengers to see past the wing, but we'll make do. Liking it back there, bud? And then we'll get a low-level pass. Left-hand side and right-hand side. Low-level, low-speed pass. In between the two little mountainsides here. Watching our speed as we do. We're actually within the range where we could fully extend our flaps. I believe 108 is the 108 is the full extension speed for our flaps. All right, left-hand side passengers. This one's for you. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the new Flight Simulator 2020. What? Why are you complaining? What are you upset about? Below 120. But I am really looking forward to, in 2024, having more career-oriented stuff, not having us have to make stuff up as much as we do. So don't mind it, but it would be cool to have some actually nicely fleshed out stuff. But we'll have to see. There's also the chance that, like other solely Microsoft ventures and flight sims, I'm looking at you, Microsoft Flight, that it just becomes awful. So we'll have to see. I'm reserving my full judgment for FS2024 once it comes out. Until then, I'll just get excited by the pretty scenery that we get to see. 500. There's some more like procedural generation stuff, so I guess they're going to use like deep learning AI. God, that's a buzzword for everyone lately, isn't it? Of having better terrain mesh, so that'll be good. And they were saying, the devs were saying, they're pretty much at the limit of what they can do with the current build of Flight Simulator 2020 that we have, which is unfortunate, but it is just a reality. It's good to know that they're actually looking to move forward and make an entirely new sim from the ground up that stops us from getting into situations like we see with DCS, which I love DCS, don't get me wrong, it's probably my favorite flight simulator to date. 500. But it's ancient. I mean, the engine it's built on is ancient. And it's always so funny to me when, you know, you critique something in the modern world that was released, you know, that day, or very recently before, and everyone's like, well, it's to maintain low usage in the engine. I'm like, dude, like, no. Like, if your engine's that bad, then you need to look at upgrading it. I mean, you see it with all AAA titles. I mean, I don't even know what version of Frostbite EA DICE is on, but the new Frostbite engine is insane. Look at Unreal. We're on Unreal Engine 5 now. Have you seen some of the stuff coming out of Unreal? Like, imagine if you were still using like UE3 or even UE2 to try to make games that look as good as what we have. It's just not really a possibility. I applaud Eagle Dynamics for their inclusion of the multi-thread. I understand that took a lot of work for them to hash out, so we do appreciate that here on the channel. Helped a little bit with performance, but I mean, there's still the big memory leak in DCS. Everyone who plays DCS knows about the memory usage. There's dudes with well, setups like mine with 64 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. We're maxing out their RAM. It's like, dude, I can render 4K videos and like do other tasks and still have RAM to spare. So I don't understand why this simulator is sucking up so much. But anyway, that's my little complaints over. We're now departing the old faithful geyser, and we're going to be heading into Yellowstone Airport once we get clear of some of this winds aloft. My goodness, are they whipping today. So we'll get climbed back out. We're going to set a cruise, so we're now going west, so we're going to do an even 1,500, so we'll do 10.5 for now. I think that should get us where we need to be. Jeez Louise, these winds are something else. One more look at the geyser. It's not even going off, is it? I can't tell, but we're about to stall. Big heavy Kodiak today. Alright, let's go autopilot on. We'll fly to apply the rudder pedals, get another 500 foot per minute climb rate established. We'll turn off our taxi and landing lights and get en route to Yellowstone here. Alright, there is Yellowstone just ahead of us there. Go ahead and throw off the autopilot again. Winds aloft. So the winds at the airport, looking at my airport data, is winds are from 031 at 09er knots. Altimeter setting is 299.1, but that is an hour old. So we'll overfly the field and get an idea of what's going on there. Let's make our call. Yellowstone traffic. Kodiak 273 Quebec Kilo in the overhead at the 45. Going to be landing runway 30 at Yellowstone. Oh. There is no runway 30. I've loaded the wrong airport on my VFR map. Maybe we'll take 19er. Yeah. But look at that wind suck down there. 19er is going to be our best bet. Yellowstone traffic. Kodiak 273 Quebec Kilo on downwind. Runway 19er at Yellowstone. Alright, we'll go landing lights. Taxi lights. Move that on. Inertial separator can go to bypass that third notch of flaps and add a little bit of power to maintain, and we'll trim the airplane out so it's nice and happy. And we have to work a little bit less. Visual, let's turn base now, we'll call it. Yellowstone traffic. Kodiak 273 Quebec Kilo, turning base, runway 19er at Yellowstone. God, look at our AOA indicator just all over the place. And Yellowstone traffic, Kodiak 273 Quebec Kilo, turning final, runway 19er, full stop at Yellowstone. Should be able to just float around in here.
500.
Look at the G1000 glitching out down there. It doesn't know what to do with the waypoint because I turned off the autopilot before we got there. Pretty big crosswind. Let's get coordinated if we can. Oh, a little bit of wind shear. Nothing the Kodiak can't handle.
Stall.
I know. Here's the mains, there's the nose. A little bit of beta. Alright, power coming back down. Flaps are up, text lights on. We can turn off those landing lights. Call clear and figure out where the hell we're going next. Yellowstone traffic. Kodiak 273 Quebec Kilo, clear of the active at Yellowstone. Alright, clear the runway. Pulling over next to these other guys over here. Show you guys a little bit of how the sausage is made occasionally on the channel. So what I was looking at before was this here, which this is technically a Yellowstone. I'm pointing like you can see it. This is technically a Yellowstone airport, but these were the runways I was looking at. And as you can tell, the airport that we landed at does not have those runways. So, oh, Mr. Fire Truck, what are you doing? Yeah, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and take advantage of your yielding. Those of you who don't know, if you're operating in an airport, 9 times out of 10, the aircraft, if you're on a taxiway, the aircraft is going to have right-of-way, and you are to give right-of-way. There are extenuating circumstances where that's not the case, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to do that. Come on, Mr. Food Truck. You know why you're here. Canadian North, dude. Get out of my country. why I'm being so hostile. He doesn't need to move, though. We go park next to this other Kodiak in the shadow of this business jet here. Look at that. Tip to tip. That's pro parking if I've ever seen it. Alright, touchdown transponder can go to standby. Let's see, what else do we not need immediately? We'll leave the inertial separator in bypass. We'll turn off our locks and avionics buses. I'm going to open that window because it is hot. Hot, hot, hot. Today, prop can go to feather. To feather, to feather, and then we can cut the engine. Good shutdown. Fuel pump to off. Ignition should have been off this whole time. Beacon off, nav off. Set that back to normal. And master battery can come off. Let's get out of this old airplane here, as it is warm. But that is going to do it for this little short hop over to Yellowstone, you guys. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for watching the channel when I don't have some new expensive airplane to review, because it adds up damn quick. So we will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this one. As I said before, I do dearly appreciate it, and I will see you in another video, as always. Oh. Take it easy. Why is there the sound of a jet flying overhead? This is the most desolate airport in the world. The most desolate airport in the world. Anyway, it's not, but God, I'm just fucking monologuing. Well, this is supposed to be the quiet, cool outro part, and I'm just talking through it. What's wrong with me? Well, I can tell you, it all started when I